Welcome everybody to the new Patrol Cook video, where we're going to be breaking down this Patrol Cook build, which is different from his blood harvesting build that I made a video on earlier. And just diving right in, we'll talk about why should you use this build. I think that this is the best build that you could currently use for Cook. The blood harvesting build is still really, really good. In fact, I would say the blood harvesting build is arguably better on Family House, but because you can't respec in the lobby, and that's a good thing, I'm not complaining about it. You can't, make a build specifically for one map. So because this is the superior build on Slaughterhouse and Gas Station, it's probably the best build to go with because it also performs really, really well on Family House. Whereas if you take the blood harvesting build, it's not very good on Slaughterhouse or Gas Station because as the meta has sort of evolved, it's gotten to the point where victims rush objectives really quickly and you just don't have time to go and collect blood bags against good players. And we're seeing that more and more, especially on PC. So this is an excellent build for, locking down certain areas, and that's really how you should be playing as every single family member anyway, is patrolling gates and patrolling objectives and denying them, and not just running around collecting a random blood bag over here to feed grandpa, because you just don't have, you can't risk it. Objectives could get done like that, and next thing you know, they get fuse boxed and they're out. So this is a really great build for the current meta. Now, let's talk about the ability and how you want to spec this. Yes, I don't have it level 3 yet, but it's obvious which thing you want to take here. The XP for family is really a grind, so it's hard to get everyone to level 3. Right now, I just have Leatherface and Hitchhiker, and I'm still working on Cook, Johnny, and Sissy. So I think that you should go to the right. Now, you could go right or left here. It doesn't, I guess it doesn't really matter. I personally just take quicker recharge rate because I tend to use his listing ability, circle around real quick to see if I can, if I catch anyone, if I get a ping essentially, and then shut it off. So for me, that's like if I'm only doing it for a small second, then hopefully it'll recharge my ability really quickly. And also, this is 33% compared to reduce ability drain being 30%. I don't know, maybe that extra 3% makes a difference. But it doesn't really matter. You can take either or. The important thing is you need to take victim detection range increased by 20% as your level 2 perk because you want to have more range so you can spot people more. It could be the difference between somebody escaping and somebody not escaping, depending on the map and how far away they are. That extra 20% can really matter. And then obviously, the last thing that you should take is clearly all family see noise. Highlighted victims are marked for the entire family. It's a game changer. It means that if the victims are playing a little more stealthily and taking their time to get out of the basement, you can mark them from up above and Leatherface could see it down below, and that can help him go kill them. And it's also just obviously fantastic when you're up top and you're kind of patrolling whatever zone you're deciding to lock down and you decide to listen, you hear somebody, oh, and it turns out they're over, near wherever Leatherface is patrolling, and now he can see them. And you don't have to just make that call out and be like, hey, they're over there, without knowing specifically where they are. This is clearly the level 3 ability you should be taking every single time. All right, let's talk about the skill tree. For the skill tree, this is what it looks like. You're going to be going up the middle here. I'm very old school, by the way. I use a notepad and a pencil like a psycho. So you're going to go up the middle here. And the reason for that is that you want scout. And then you also want security pins. Those are the backbone of this build. Those are the two things you absolutely need to have. So obviously, middle is where you want to go. And also as a side thing, you don't have to spend points on Animal Farm if you don't want to. If you're really worried about your point economy and you want to save a couple points, absolutely have to pick up exterior alarms. That goes hand in hand with this build. That's also a backbone of this build, along with scout and security pins. And then when you get up here, you don't have to take these last two nodes. This is a random perk slot. This is a random perk slot. If you already got the random perk that you want down here with this random perk node, you don't have to grab those. I think you still should, just for the skill points. That's just me personally. And then for your random perks, there's a bunch of different things. We'll get into that in a second. But for perks, this is what I'm taking. I am taking... Where's my loadout? There we go. I am taking Scout, obviously, like we talked about, security pins, and then exterior alarms. Those three perks are, in my opinion, non-negotiable for this build. You have to take those three. Exterior alarms is the best grandpa perk in the game, bar none. So you have to take that, and it works well with the build because it's going to help you patrol and guard exits more easily. And what this game considers a critical door or gate is insane. It's basically every door and gate. It's anything that basically has a lock on it, and then some things that don't have locks on it, like that main gate in the central area on Slaughterhouse. It leads to the junkyard. That's considered a critical door, so very, very important. For your third and final perk, this one's going to be, whatever pick you want. For me, I prefer to take tracker tagged because that, Cook is not very good in a chase. He's very slow. He doesn't do a ton of damage. He can't go through gaps and crawl spaces. So having the ability to whack someone and then highlight it for all victims is very nice. Very nice for callouts, because then you could just say, hey, I tagged someone over here. And someone who has half a brain will know, oh, just look around and I'll be able to see the highlighted victim. Also really helpful once you get it to level 3 for the 5-second highlight duration. Very nice for not losing track of somebody. So if you do manage to hit someone and they get through a gap or crawl space, you'll know where they're going. So very, very important. For other perks that are obtainable in this tree, you have Surgical. Surgical for me is just not worth it. Like, yes, you get more blood, and 100% more blood when attacking victims is good. And there is an argument to be made for taking Surgical because you're not going to be harvesting blood bags nearly as much. If you're saying, well, I want to get my blood from, attacking victims, but it's so hard for him to even hit victims because of how slow he is, even with Scout. So, is this an option? Sure, you could absolutely take it over tracker tagged, but I'm just giving you my reasonings for why I don't. You could totally take Unrelenting if you want even more stamina, so that you can run for even longer and patrol even longer. You could absolutely take that Unrelenting if you want. I'd have no issue with that. And then for the rest of his random perks, he gets Activated Battering Ram, Punishment, Serrated, Tenderizer. You'll pay for that. Infusing Mechanic, Insulated, and Tracker Tag. To run through them really quick, the only one of these that I would even consider taking out of those is obviously Tracker Tag, because I already am taking that. And then Serrated. Serrated's one of the better damage perks of the game, despite what I said in my family perk tier list video, because the damage does stack. And so if you have high endurance, you're going to be attacking more frequently, which you will for this build. And then that means you're going to be potentially getting more hits off, and that means even if they get through a gap in crawl space, they're going to continue taking a bunch of stacked bleed damage and possibly get incapacitated. So I could see the argument behind Serrated as well, but me personally, this is like a full-on tracking patrol build, and I think that Tracker Tag really fits in line with that. For the rest of the perks, Activated Dealing more damage after being stunned. I don't get stunned. I don't know what to tell you. I know how to dodge doors. I just flat out don't get stunned. So I've never really seen a reason to take this. And you don't want to get stunned. So the extra damage increase is just not worth it because, you know, you're going to lose track of the person if you get stunned. Battering ram, you don't really need that. It's, you know, makes it so you could barge through a door faster. Very rarely are you ever going to need to barge through a door because the only time anyone really latches anything that you need to get through like that is in the basement, and you shouldn't be in the basement. For punishment, it's after finding a victim in a hiding spot, you deal extra damage. Don't need that. Victims don't use hiding spots. Tenderizer, slamming a door on a victim deals extra damage. Don't need that. My voice cracked. Don't need that because you're never going to slam a door on anyone because doors just work weird for family in this game for some reason. Grandpa being incapacitated, damage dealt to victims is increased. You'll pay for that. Don't need that, I don't think, because Grandpa's just not incapacitated for long enough to justify taking that perk. A 25% damage increase is nice. It's potentially nice on Cook specifically because he might be around Grandpa more than other family members because of his tendency to harvest and stuff like that, but I don't think it's necessary because Grandpa's not incapacitated for long enough. Confusing mechanic. After turning on a generator, it takes 15 seconds longer. It's a useless perk after the change where the generator starts on. Before someone comments is like, well, actually, yes, you could turn the generator off, wait, and then turn it back on. First of all, I don't think you should do that with any family member because it's such a massive waste of time to have to wait to do that. Secondly, you definitely are not doing that with Cook because Cook is busy getting his locks set up. Insulated is the booby trapped lamps one, and nobody booby traps lamps, so that's worthless. All right, so that's your random perks, and then for your attributes, we're pumping all our points into endurance. Easy. You're already at 25 blood harvesting, which means that a full blood vial will give 1 full level to Grandpa. You don't need to put any more points into that. Perfect. And so you're just cranking up his endurance so he can run as long as possible without needing to stop. So he can patrol. He's a patrol cook. That's what the build is all about. And then finally, we will talk about his play style. I got some excellent footage here of a Grandpa game that I'm really happy about because it's a fantastic demonstration, I think, of how to play Cook. And so you'll notice when the match starts, this is on gas station, you immediately collect that blood bag because why not? And then there's kind of this path you take where you'll collect that blood bag. If it spawns there, you'll collect that blood bag. And then there's going to be another blood bag right in front of this storage container. Sometimes it won't spawn there and you're going to collect that. Then you're going to go over to the right side gate. And the main reason that you always want to go right side gate is the path you're going to take. And also it's worth noting that when you open this, you don't have to lock the gate and then add the padlock. If you just add the padlock, it'll lock the gate at the same time. So it saves you a few extra seconds. And then you'll go over and lock this gate. And then my path just naturally takes me on this loop to where then I will head to the left gate that leads to car battery and lock that. So as far as how to play him, I'll try to skip ahead and show you. You notice I use my family sense there. The reason I'm using my family sense is to try to determine where the fuse box spawned. Because most of the time you're going to be guarding fuse box with this guy. You're not going to be guarding your gates that you padlocked because you can watch those gates with family sense. That's the crux of how you're playing Patrol Cook. You are going to use family sense constantly to check your padlocks to make sure that they're still there. And then whatever gate, exit, objective, whatever it is that you can't padlock or deny with padlocks, those are the ones you're going to be patrolling. So like on gas station, you see where that fuse box spawned right there. Sometimes the water valve will spawn right on the other side of that wall. That's the God spawn for you as a family member because it means you can patrol the fuse box, the water valve, and the one gate you didn't padlock. All in a very tiny area. And then the other 3 crucial gates that you have to patrol, you can check with Family Sense. And you can see them from any distance on the map, as far as I know, at least on gas station. Maybe it's not infinite on like Family House if you're all the way down the road. But you are going to basically hang out by the fuse box or the water valve, depending on the map, depending on the spawns, and guard whatever crucial gate objective, like I said, that you have not padlocked, that you've not denied with a padlock. So that's the crux of it. You're going to use the Family Sense constantly. Family Sense is also crucial for seeing if the fuse box is open, by the way. You will see that the panel has been opened once they get access to it. That's really important in case you're on a map where you can't quite hang out right next to the fuse box the entire time. It's massive to be able to use Family Sense to check that. So every time you're going to use Family Sense and you're going to spam it and try to use it as quickly as possible so that you don't completely run out of Family Sense and have to wait longer for it to fill back up. You want to check, and you notice I did it right there. You want to check all your padlocks and then communicate with your team, hopefully, and tell them, hey, my padlocks are still up on these gates, and then patrol the stuff that you don't have padlocked. And then occasionally, if you do need to go feed Grandpa, let your team know. Be like, hey, they're on fuse box right now. I did that in this game. I was like, hey, they're all over fuse box. I'm leaving fuse box in order to go feed Grandpa if somebody wants to watch it. That's a really nice thing to let your team know. And if they're listening, hopefully they'll go help. And then exterior alarms, obviously, is fantastic. It's going to help you with patrolling and guarding all these exits. So there you go. There's Patrol Cook. There's the build. There's how you play him. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. I think it's the best Cook build. And this security pins in particular is pretty nuts. I've gone up against a Cook on the victim side who had level 3 security pins. You feel it, especially on characters with high proficiency like Connie. If you don't have her ability up, it takes a long time to get through those locks. So security pins is very, very good. And Scout, obviously excellent for getting Cook's slow ass to move around because he is slow. And you really do need that Scout. And Scout, I think, unfortunately, is getting to the point where it seems like it's like a must-take on every family member, is what it's starting to feel like. Hopefully something is done about that. I don't know. In the future, I don't know if something is going to be done about it, but it's kind of lame if it gets to the point where one of your perk slots is like a requirement. But hey, there you go. Give this build a try. Let me know what you think. I'm happy to be back with some build videos. Hopefully we'll have some Johnny build coming in the upcoming days. And then on the victim side of things, I will also have, I think, an additional Connie build, a Leland build, and then an Anna build. So I'll have all those, and then also another Johnny build. Sissy, I'm still working on. Sissy's really not good. I'm still trying to figure out how you want to play her because there's a lot of different ways to play her. You could play her as like a poisoner character, a blood harvested character. It really varies. But yeah, anyway, give it a try. Let me know what you think. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And thank you for watching. And I'll see you in the next video.